special shout out to our sponsors, All About Your Construction of Lebanon, Oregon, and Mugs Coffee House of Lebanon, Oregon. For more information on Mugs Coffee House and their outstanding coffee, go to mugslebanon.com. And for more information about All About Your Construction of Lebanon, Oregon, call 541-570-1059. Hey, everybody. Russ Reels Live. Russ Hedge with you here today on this Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I am so excited to be with you today. You know, I'm just rocking out to that music. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm going to brag again. My son does all the music production and all of the music writing and things for our show. He just kind of does that as a side, just as a favor for dad. But he is my double Grammy nominated son from this last year, was nominated for 2 Grammys for 2 groups that he actually mastered, was part of the team that mastered their projects. And so that was amazing. They didn't win, but at least he was nominated. Super excited about that and blessed to have him be able to do the music for all this. So much fun. And, you know, I just love these get-togethers on Russ Reels Live because I get to bring in some of the most amazing people and we get to talk on different subjects. Today, we're going to talk visibility in your business. Is it important to be visible in today's market? And if it is, how should you be visible in today's market? What are some of the tools you can use? What are some of the ways that you can get your business top of mind so people see what's going on? We're going to talk about that today. But first, I just wanted to remind you, my name is Russ Hedge, and I am your marketing coach. I'm also an inspiration specialist. I love to inspire and encourage you to live a purpose-driven life of significance. That's my purpose. That's my why. That's what I'm all about. And what does that really mean? I want you to be a world changer. I want you to be a difference maker. I want you to do the amazing things God created you to do. And I just want to encourage you today. And that's why I bring on all these amazing guests so they can encourage you and they can give you some great ideas, great content so that you can take that then and use that in your life and your business. So this whole platform of live streaming is amazing. It's an amazing opportunity that if you're not taking advantage of, you should, because it gives you great visibility. There you go. Something we're going to talk about today. And I also want to remind you that I'm the author of Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. And I see Chris in the green room doing it with me. Thank you, Chris. And so, yes, it's all about, that book is all about inspiring and encouraging you really to live your best life, really to live the life you choose. You know, I love the saying, life happens and then you choose, because I have so many people that tell me, yeah, Russ, you don't understand what I'm going through. And you know what I say to them? You're right. I have no idea what you're going through. And then they say, yeah, but I have all these things going on around me and I can't control what's happening to me. And I said, yep, you're right. You can't control what's happening to you. And they said, well, how do I live the life I choose? And I said, because life happens and then you choose. Where are you going from here? What are you doing with your life? No matter what's happening to you, what choices are you making to push yourself forward? I choose to be positive. I choose to make the most out of life. And I choose to be as visible as I can in a positive way in my business and my life, just to help and encourage others. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I just want to remind you that I love to connect. One of my goals this year is to connect with at least 1,000 new people. And that's really, it sounds daunting, but it's really only about 3 people a day. Today, I connected with 4 new people. I'm just blowing it out of the water. Usually 4 to 5 people a day I'm connecting with, really connecting to get to know them and either live stream with them or do projects with them or carry on the conversation with them. So that's what I'm all about. If you want to be one of those people, go to russhedge.com. You can put time on my calendar and schedule a Zoom chat with me. I'd love to meet you, love to connect with you. And so do that today. If you want more information about me too, russhedge.com is the place. Also, please subscribe on YouTube for all of my content, all of my live streams. So easy. You can go to russreels.live. There you go. It's russreels.live. Got to remember what it is. That will take you directly to the content. So here we are on Russ Reels Live. Russreels.live will take you to all the content from Russ Reels, from Marketing with Russ, from the experience, all of my live stream shows. So love to have you do that. Okay, enough about me. We are going to jump in with our guests and get things started. And as always, we go ladies first. And so we're going to bring Alex in. Alex, how's it going?
Hey, it's wonderful. How are you?
I am so good. Down in sunny North Carolina, I hear.
Yes, I am. Yes. I'm from Ohio, but we have traveled up to North Carolina right now.
Well, that is so cool. I mean, that's so nice to be able to get away with your family. Give everybody just a little snapshot of who Alex really is.
Oh, who am I really? I have so many things going on, but so I'm originally from Ohio. I am a registered nurse, soon to be doctor. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be Dr. Rosa, or Dr. Spice, as everybody likes to call me. And I'm the founder and creator of Spice. And so Spice stands for Spirit, Physical, Insight, Career, and Emotion. And it is how I teach and educate and do my holistic health and wellness coaching. I do in-person and telehealth. And I have so many different programs going on, and I'm a teacher. I teach nursing students as well as the holistic health and wellness coaching. And that's just a little bit.
Well, that's a lot already. You're making me tired already. And speaking of doing a lot, the next guest we have in is Huyse, who is an amazing friend. How's it going, Cami?
I am great. How are you?
I am so good. So you're squeezing us in between all the stuff you're doing with your family and your business. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Makes me honored to have you here today. So thank you. So tell everybody a little bit about you and what you're up to.
Sure. Hey, so my name is Huyse, and I am a community connector. So I help people to find their online community, connect with them through both my agency work, where we do it for big clients, and also through Smart Social Mastery, where we help coaches and consultants to find their audience and get the support they need and the encouragement to get out there and promote their business.
Right. And you do an incredible job. You've got so many great things going on. And I've learned so much from you, and I appreciate that from the get-go. I mean, I think really early on in my business, you and I met, and you've just been a blessing to me. So thank you for that. Thank you. And speaking of blessings, Mr. Jim Fuhs, when I had no idea how to live stream, Mr. Jim Fuhs came and was like, Russ, let me help you out. What a great friend. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great. Are you sure it was a blessing?
You were definitely a blessing.
Because you've done over 200 shows now. I mean, you're like, we got you doing this all the time. So, is it a blessing or a curse?
I don't know. Well, you know me. I love doing this. I love getting together with so many awesome, amazing people. And I think you might hold the record. I think you and I talked like week after week after week when we first met. And I just gleaned so much good information off you. And then really when I was really wanting to live stream, you and Alan Hennessy were the two that helped Scott and I get started initially. And you're still rolling in the credits of my first show and the experience from all the things you did. So anyway, Jim, give everybody a snapshot of what you're up to.
Yeah. So Jim Fuhs, my company is Fusion Marketing. I'm also the co-host of Dealcasters on Amazon Live with my friend Chris Stone, who I think is actually here today too. So lots of things going on, virtual event production, working on some events next week for some big companies. And as you can see behind me, Chris and I are leading a full day of an in-person event of part of VidFest, where we're going to talk about the Amazon influencer program. So I do marketing the Marine Corps way. That means I tell it like it is, and excited to be here and tell people how they can keep that visibility going for their business.
Yeah, I was thinking about you yesterday because we had a coach on the Experience Live with Russ and Scott that was no BS. And I was thinking you being, the Marine Corps way, telling it like it is, same idea, no BS, straight to it. And I just think that's so good. I think you just need to tell it like it is and make things happen. And you do a great job of that. And speaking of Chris Stone, Mr. Chris Stone is in the house, the master of video.
Oh, God. The master of video. I was thinking to myself, who let this knucklehead on this show with all these beautiful people? Russ, thank you so much for for having me on again. Your shows are they always bring a smile to my face. You always have such great guests, and I'm excited to share the stage with Alex, Cammie, Jim, and Joe. This is just going to be fantastic, man. Thank you.
Well, I have appreciated getting to know you, and we became friends like instantly. And it's been a couple of years ago now. I mean, we've known each other for a while. And, when we first met, I thought this guy really knows what he's doing. So I tried to pay attention to all the things you're doing. You had me on Amazon Live. You and Jim did on your show. And then, you've been on a bunch of my shows. So I appreciate all that. And you've just been just a blessing to me, really. But tell everybody what are you really doing? What are you really up to?
Honestly, I don't know what I'm really doing, but I do have a bunch of stuff that I could list off, but I'm just going to keep it short. I'm Chris Stone at Cast Ahead, and I'm a content entrepreneur. I work with motivated people to do their show, and that could be a podcast, that could be a live stream, that could be remote production, because more often than not, you don't want to know how a show is made. You just want a show. And that's what I do for you. And I also am lucky enough, as Jim said, to co-host a show with him on Amazon called Dealcasters. And Russ, if it weren't fun, we would not do it. And that's really why we continue to do it, because we just have a blast, man.
Yeah. Well, life is too short not to enjoy what you're doing. I truly believe that. And I was just talking to somebody earlier today that how much of a blessing it is to me as a father that both of my children are able to be in music for their careers. My daughter is a worship pastor, and my son as a professional musician and master. They just are loving what they do. It's what they're all about. And so many people don't get to do what they love to do. And I truly believe all of you here are doing what you love to do, including our next guest, Mr. Joseph Gonzalez is in the house.
Boom! Hey, how y'all doing? Chris, Russ, Jim, Cammie, and Alexandria. Thank you very much for us. You know how I feel about what we do together here. It's amazing the short time that we've known each other. We've really gotten to vibe together, and we've shared some great times. I've been on your shows for a couple times now. I always chime in. And what you're doing is amazing. Like I told you last show, it's not only the 200 shows that you eclipsed, it's how many people you've affected during those 200 shows that matters to me. And like I said, if you can change one person's life a day, imagine what those 200 shows have done. So
That's right.
Me, I'm honored to be here with all these pros. I'm just going to try to hang with these folks here. I'm an amateur. So,
well, you know what? I just appreciate you so much. I appreciate your attitude and what you're all about. And that's the reason you've been on a couple different shows already.
Thank you.
And, I'm just thankful for you, Joseph. Give everybody a snapshot of who you are and what you're up to.
Basically, what I do, I work with organizations to optimize and align teams. I'm the guy that they call the culture crusher because I go in and I turn that toxic work environment and I turn it into a safe and trusted work environment. And like they said, I'm not military, but my style is direct, straightforward, transparent, open, and honest. And if you want to bring me in, that's what you're going to get. If not, I'm not your guy. Have a great day. We love you. But we got to keep on moving. That's what I do.
And you know what? We need more of that. We really do. And I had a blessed meeting with a friend of mine who is the mayor of Albany, which is a city just south of Salem where I live today. What a great guy he is. And we were talking about his style. And really, he's a man of action, but also very straightforward and takes control and just does stuff. And he's running for re-election. And I told him his whole motto for his re-election should be, I get stuff done.
That's right.
Because that's really what he's all about. And I really feel that way about you guys. But when it comes to our topic for today, which is visibility in your business, we're going to start with Alex. And Alex, tell us what you've done and what you think is important to stay visible in today's busy, crazy market.
For myself, I've been just going live and making videos, and I'm newer to the live stream game, but I have loved it so much. And I always tell the story of like the first video I ever made was like me in the background, me in my backyard by my kids' playground. And I just put the camera on and made a video about me talking about deep breathing and anxiety. And that was like the very first that started it all after that. And just doing the live streams and so I use StreamYard now. And so learning how to use that. And I think where I come from, where my background is with nursing, a lot of nurse educators are not out there using live videos as a way of talking about who they are, what they do, what they're knowledgeable about, how they want to help people, how they want to help other nursing students, how they want to help out other people in their health and wellness. So I've really been trying to show more nurses and more people in healthcare that this is a really great way to do this. And if you're somebody that you really have your heart in the right place and you're wanting to help other people, like you want to be that credible source of information for people where they know I can go and I can find that right information from you. So just being out there, making videos about who you are as a person, sharing, like my son was just over here. He always bombs any video that I'm on. And it's part of life. It's part of life. And me with the people that I work with, it's usually like busy moms in grad school or that are working, that are other healthcare professionals. And it's like, to get a quiet moment really does not happen that often. So I just am real and as approachable as possible. And I think that's what has created a lot of connection for me and how I've got more visibility and more people sharing my content and all of that. So that's kind of my take on it.
Well, it's interesting because I love it. There he is. Woo! It ties us right to our next guest, because one of my favorite moments early on in COVID was when Cammie was doing one of her live workshops and her son was photobombing her behind, walking back and forth behind. And I was just laughing because here I thought Cammie was like this pro and had it all together. I was learning from her, and her kids are still photobombing her. So, and people love that. They love the authenticity of all that. You're a mom, you're a real person. But Cammie, tell us, all the social media and being more consistent in that area ties a lot into visibility as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it totally does. And so I really appreciate what Alex just said, because one of our big clients is a hospital system. So we've been doing social media for a hospital system this entire pandemic. So what you're doing is really important. It's really important to get the information out there that's true, that's like right. So I really just want to first of all say that to Alex before I dive in. I've been in those trenches with you for 2 years. So so yes, here's the thing about social media. Social media is a tool to connect with people. That's all it is. And so, I mean, it's nothing magical. I still remember when I first realized that, people actually talk to each other offline. I was like, oh, you guys, oh my gosh, we can talk to each other. We can actually have that. And that was, a decade ago, more than a decade ago when that happened. But, I just have learned, and Russ is like this too. And this is what I love about Russ, is that he is about connecting with people at a deeper level. And so if you can use social media like that, yes, be consistent with your posting. All of that stuff is great. But even if you never posted another day in your life, if you connected with people authentically, you're out there commenting, you're out there sharing other people's information and adding your 2 cents to it. Let me just tell you, as a content creator, when somebody shares something that I made and adds a little bit to it about what they like about it, I notice that. And I will promise you, any content creator, I don't care how big they are, if they are creating the content themselves, they will absolutely 100% love you for that. I mean, it may be different if they have other people creating the content for them, which is always nice to get to the point where you can have other people do that for you. But in the end of the day, why do you do social media? You do social media to connect with other people. If you're doing it for business, that's great. It's because you want a person to buy something from you. That's a person, not a number, right? So that's the key. So I talk about the 4 C's of social media. The first one is really about clarity, understanding why you're doing what you're doing and what you're doing. Then the second C is all about connect. I always put connect before the third C, which is create, because you really don't want to create something until you are connecting with the people and you know what you can serve to them that they need. Then you can create the content, you can do all that creation stuff, and then you calibrate your approach and you go around and around, right? So in the end of the day, you have to have a strategy. Then you have to have connection, and then you create your content.
Yeah, no, you are exactly right. And I love that. I love that whole formula. And it's so true. The best advice I got, and I happen to be naturally this way, so it's easy for me to do. But the best advice I ever got was just connect with people and share their media. Get online. Joseph is excellent at that. Almost every show I do, he's busy commenting, in things. Alex says, you all do that. But I mean, everybody that wants to be visible and get known out there needs to show people they care about what they're doing. I think that's huge. One person that some of us might know is Kenny D. Kenny D hardly is ever on a live stream. He's really anti being on camera, but he comments and he is sharing the love constantly. The scrumdiddlyicious, whatever he's doing,
all that good stuff.
So, and everybody knows him, but he's not doing a lot of his own stuff. He's just supporting other people. And that's a really good example of what you just said there. And when you got started, Jim, you launched right into doing things online, and you have the Tim and Jim show. Now you're doing the show with Chris on Amazon Live, Dealcasters, and all that kind of stuff. What did you find was your best starting point as far as becoming visible when you started your business?
Well, as a live streamer, it's the consistency. It's doing it every week, even when you sometimes maybe don't want to. Because what happens is, and I found this happen probably more so before COVID, but I would have people come up to me at, when we had networking meetings in person. I'm sure we all remember those. They're like, I really love your show. And I'd be like, what? Because they don't comment. They don't react. So you have, I like to call them, and I'm guilty of this on Facebook, I'm a lurker. I'm watching what you're doing, but I'm not always making comments. So people see you whether you realize it or not. So by being consistent in what you post and how you post things, stay out of things that you don't need to be talking about, because people will see that too. And so I'm sure we've all seen the other side of people we didn't think we would see over these last couple of years. So I think consistency is definitely a key in that. And so, because then people think they see you all the time, and it could be their imagination. But I really think that has been a big thing for Tim and I both, and it's led to other opportunities, as well as what Chris and I have done with Dealcasters, just by being consistent. And also, I would go back to what Cammie says, and that's by promoting others and engaging with others, and not always broadcasting about yourself, but how can I help others succeed?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And you've had such a helpful heart, Jim. I've seen that firsthand. And when you come across that way, when people are connecting and they get to know you, it raises the stature, and people want to tune in more to the things that you're doing. It makes me want to tune into Dealcasters and the Tim and Jim show and all those things to see you guys, because we actually have a true connection. And years ago, Chris, you're always such a good promoter. And after we first met, you were putting out things about you made a GIF, a befuddled, live the life you choose with the hand motions, the whole thing. And that was so fun. And, that meant what Cammie said. That meant so much to me, that you took a moment to create some content for me. And then you also did little video clips from the interview we did, the first interview on Marketing with Russ. You clipped some things out of that and put that out on your social media. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy's amazing. He's putting out things of me, and I really, really appreciate that. I think that by helping me be more visible, it actually turned itself around, and it makes you more visible too, don't you think?
Yeah, I think I always hate going almost last on a question, because I feel like all the good answers are taken. So thanks, everybody. No, but I think what can't get lost in all of this is thinking about your ideal listener or your ideal viewer, and knowing what their problems are, and then creating content to solve it. And so when you are a podcast guest on someone's show, if as a host, one of the most difficult things to do is to get your guests to promote your show before you go live or before you record, and afterwards when it's released to promote it. And so that's part of what I do in my business. But when you better believe when I'm a guest on a show, give me that content. I'm going to sprinkle it over the interwebs for a long time and months at a time, because you never know. That episode that I was on with you and Scott on The Experience, I still put that out there. I still get responses. I still get likes. And you never know when that could reach out and touch someone and solve their problems because they go back and they watch that show from Russ Hedge. Maybe they buy the Befuddled book. Or you have to really think, especially now when people go live, the content that we're creating right now lives forever. It's going to outlive us. And so that makes you sit up a little bit and maybe treat everything that you're doing a little bit more like it's more important. I'm not saying what we're doing is saving lives necessarily, but what I am, not like Spice here is actually saving lives. We're not. But I do think you need to treat this, even though it's easy to get on StreamYard and go on all the tubes and hang out and do all that. And we should do that. We should get in the reps, like Jim's saying. But we also need to have a spirit of excellence and know that this is a legacy that we're also creating. And if we have something important that we want to say, we need to treat this as a platform in which it outlives us and it could last for a very long time.
Yeah, wow, well said. Mic drop on that. It's so true. And what I think is really interesting, they talk about when I first got into digital marketing, repurposing content is so important. And, that's, what we're talking about with the things you did. And I have an incredible assistant who is always putting clips out of the shows. So I'll have a Marketing with Russ show or The Experience, whatever, and these clips go out of the conversation and some really good sound bites that do live long beyond us. I mean, it is amazing what video can do. I am just really thankful that we have this opportunity to be able to do these things and meet people like Joseph, who came into my life as one of the most positive people I had met in a long time. And, visibility to you, Joseph, and all that you're doing. Talk about that.
Well, just the word visibility, what does that mean to a lot of folks? To me, my strategies have always been, Russ, is to promote everyone else. I found out early on in the game that in order for me to gain visibility, I have to push others first. So my strategy has always been to excel in engagement, be consistent on their posts, be consistent on their shows, provide them an out to get out there as well. And what that has done for me has returned to me big time. One of my other strategies is to be extremely consistent on a daily basis with my regular posting, my videos, my weekend postings, and then posting at different times of the day to see where my target market is. And then I think it was Chris that said, who is your target market? Find the target market and then try to solve their problem or give them the ideas to solve their problem. So I've been doing pretty good in that aspect to gain visibility. But for me, the go-to has been to build the people relationships outside of the platform.
Yeah, for sure.
So I try to schedule as many virtual coffees as I can during the week, which, it throws me off a little bit, but I try to do that because let's say LinkedIn has a hiccup. I still have all my CRMs, my people in my CRM that I keep, that I can reach out and we can reconnect in another way. But for me, visibility is huge. This platform is unlimited. Don't limit yourself on what we can and what we can't do. And my strategy is to be real, authentic, and genuine. Show me as I am, and boom, let's knock it out.
So let's think back in the day when we wanted to get content out there. If we wanted video, we'd have to go through a gigantic production process. Chris, you've been in this game for years in music and video. And, we had to go through this gigantic process to put something out there. Now, as my good friend and co-host D. Scott Smith says, the barrier of entry to do this is just your willingness to step forward and do it. I mean, it takes seconds to put something out. When I have a really good idea or a really good thought, I might just go live like now. If I have a really good thought, I might just create a graphic in Canva now and just put it out. I had a thought yesterday and I just typed it up, put it out. I was done. I mean, it's that easy. And I'm going to bounce back to you, Chris. We're gonna go the opposite direction this time. And since you were complaining about going last.
Again,
And
Chris.
isn't it amazing how really, truly simple it is to create visibility these days in comparison?
It is from I guess from what's available to us perspective. You talked about music, and I created music when I was, was younger, and I've been in band since I was, 15. And the way, you couldn't create really music on a computer. It really wasn't a thing. It was all very organic. And now, if I always think to myself, boy, if I had even GarageBand that comes with a Mac at my disposal, what kind of creator I could have become in music. But the truth of the matter is, one of the things that is really keeping people from doing anything is not the tech. It's not the ease of StreamYard and like all the tech is not key. It's because people get mind junk. They have perfectionism, imposter syndrome. They just they see things that look super glorious on social media, and they feel like they can't compare. And as great as live video is, because right now you're seeing me and you're seeing all these beautiful people here on your screen. These are the people that you see. We're live. This is who we are, right? And so you can tell early in a live stream whether or not that person is real. And I think one of the greatest compliments that any one of us could get is if someone were to say, you know what, you're the exact same person I saw on that show 2 years ago. And so when you get that feels okay, because there's times, and I'm not going to call anybody out or whatever, where you meet them and you're like, boy, they're a completely different person than I expected after watching hours of their video. But in any event, I think, I just don't think it's the tech. I think people are just a little bit too afraid of hitting that big red button and just starting. But to Jim's point, and some others have touched on it as well, can't let that stuff hold you back from just going, because your second video is going to be better than your first video, your third better, and then you just got to take those steps. And, you don't learn to run without walking first. Yeah. All of those, insert whatever cliche you want here. It's true. You don't, go to the gym and come back having lost 35 pounds and shred it up. You got to keep going.
Too bad,
so, huh? Yeah, it would be awesome.
Well, that is so true. This is where consistency comes in and sticking with it. And the limiting beliefs, we limit ourselves so much. The limited beliefs that we all have, and that glass ceiling we keep bumping up against, it takes perseverance, right, Jim, to keep moving when people get on live. And if they don't have hundreds of people commenting and on there right away, they don't realize, like Jim, I think Chris was the one that said, or no, Jim, you said the lurkers, right? The lurkers that are in the background. I know so many people, exact same thing that you said. You have no idea they're anywhere, and you run into them and they go, I love your shows. I watch it every week. I love your post you put in the morning. I read it every morning. I'm like, really? I had no idea, because you've never said a thing before. So how do we overcome that, Jim, to get out there and stay visible and consistent?
Well, I think first of all, right, I always kind of, I've had to think about this over time, but I heard someone say, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Well, it's not even that. It's a journey that never ends, because,
Right.
Marathon, 26.2 miles and you're done. But no, the marathon, right, it's like the never ending marathon. So you have to get that mindset, like, okay, this is going to be a long journey. My journey may change. I think, Chris and I would tell you, and I think, Tim Sohn, who's in the audience, 2 years ago or 2+ years ago, when all this COVID stuff happened, none of us would have imagined that, like in our case, we would be doing so much remote virtual production, not only doing it, but being successful, growing our businesses, where a lot of other people were like, oh, it's the end. I don't know what to do with myself. And so you have to believe in yourself first, going back to what was talked about earlier about, letting that mind junk get in your way, because the only person that's going to get in your way is you. And if you can just get beyond that and realize, like, I just got to take things a step at a time. I mean, I have a great camera now, but I started out with I think the computer that came with my, the camera in the computer and the microphone from the computer. So it's not like this happens overnight, and it's okay to not have that stuff up front. Chris and I talk a lot about, right, that, oh, I want to be perfect. Well, don't worry about that, because if you're yourself, that's what's going to get you moving forward. And so the same thing with live streams. And I think maybe if I've seen people learn anything, I remember it used to be people would go live and then they'd sit there like, well, we're going to wait a little bit to see if anybody else shows up before we start talking. And I think people have gotten better to know it's just like on, I don't know what we call it anymore. Television, stream-o-vision. It's like when that red light goes on, you go, right?
That's right.
You don't care if there's 1 million people watching or 0 people watching, because people are going to come back and watch later. And if you don't get their attention in that first probably 10 to 20 seconds, they're going somewhere else. So I think that's something to remember, and not to get bent out of shape if you don't see instant success. It could take a long time, but it's kind of like they talk about, Andrea Vall talked about, like, old people that have succeeded. Look at what Colonel Sanders went through, right? He took a lot of rejection before he hit success. So you have to think of that same way when it comes to your visibility. It's not going to happen overnight unless you're just lucky.
Well, and people too, they do give up really easy. We all have a certain amount of that in us. Some people persevere more than others. What do they say? Edison, it took 10,000 failures or 10,000 things he found out were not the way to create a light bulb before he created it, right? And I'm forgetting his name now. Ray Kroc. He didn't even start McDonald's Corporation until he was 57, I think. I mean, it's just amazing the life that some people have had to go through to get to the point. He was selling milkshake machines before that, I think. And so, I mean, it's amazing what we can do no matter where we are in our life. And
this show has made me hungry all of a sudden, Russ. Yeah. Man, I'm starving now.
So Cammie, help me, save me. So when we're, when we are, out there to create content and mistakes happen, things happen. Do you think that makes us look horrible, and should we stop because we make a mistake?
It only is horrible if you spend all your time apologizing for it. So here's what I found to be true. I have been doing this. I've been live streaming actually since 2015. I went back and found my first live stream for Social Media Breakfast. And actually, even before that, I did a little bit of playing around with it, with some things that were kind of new in the market at the time. But I was horrible. It was horrible. Like the audio was bad. The video was bad. And I started getting in the habit of saying, hey, I make all the mistakes so you guys don't have to. So I just, I just figure I'm here to make the mistakes so you don't have to.
That is awesome. Can I use that?
Sure. Okay. I've been saying it for I don't know, over a decade at this point. But that is really important to understand, that you are just learning. You are just learning. We're all just learning. No matter what level you're at, you're still learning. And to get to that next level and that next level. I mean, you've got all this production going on in your video here. That was not the way your videos were over a year ago. You have absolutely grown up there, Russ. So I mean, and me, I'm still just doing my own switching, I'm like, on StreamYard. So I was like, oh yeah, I need to get one of those Engato things or something. Okay. But anyway, as far as content goes, that is my specialty. So I do teach content and how to create content. So having content cornerstones, I like to call them cornerstones. Some people call them pillars, whatever. Having what you're going to be talking about figured out in that strategy section. So I told you what the 4 things I talk about are. I talk about strategy, I talk about connection, I talk about content creation, and I talk about pivoting and measurement and that kind of thing. Those 4 things are what I talk about. And that's what my live streams are about. I sit down and I'll say, what 5 things under content creation can I talk about in the next couple of months? What 5 things under connection? What 5 things under, starting a strategy? And so before you know it, you have 20 pieces of content planned out in oh, by the way, in our last Instant Authority, they did it. I did an Instant Authority workshop a couple months ago. The whole group that was there, they did it in 17 minutes. They had they had 90 days worth of content planned out in 17 minutes.
Wow.
So
I
you
was
can
at
do
the
it.
first one. I was at the first one.
Yeah, you were. And then he ran out of time. And it's funny because it's funny because I just did a poll on LinkedIn a couple of days ago, and it's still running, so you guys can go take it. But I'll throw the link to it in the chat so you can vote. But 47% of the people say the reason they don't post more often is because they don't have time. 47%. And so 29%, which is 30, which is a lot, also say they don't have anything to say. So if you get those two things figured out, like what to say and do it in a very quick time, then you have it comes from having a plan. That's it.
Yeah. Well, as my beautiful wife always says, you have time for what you make time for. And when we become more productive in our business, we have time to do things, and we should be. I'm a big fan of being very measured and blocking time for social media and blocking time for things we're doing. Otherwise, we let it take over our life, and we get a little too carried away with that. And people like Alex, who it seems like they're on doing things all the time. You're always on everything, and you're taking care of your family, and you're becoming a doctor, and you're on vacation. How do you do all that stuff? You're the most visible person I know.
Thank you. Yeah, and I was just thinking that you went right to it when Cammie was talking about that, making the time. So I teach a lot about time blocking and time management, productivity, energy management. That's a lot of part of my holistic teaching. And so I do it for people so that they can do it in their personal lives. And then I also teach professionals how to do it in their professional life. And so I've taken that and really had to adapt it to being a new business owner and being a new live streamer. And when do I block out the time to create content? When do I block out the time to make videos? Because I have a daily show that I do, and then I'm going to start doing another show where I have guests now. And so now I'm in my mind thinking, Alex, what's the process? What's the workflow going to be for this new thing? So really looking at your time and start learning more about time blocking. And I have a lot of posts about time blocking. If you go over to my page and follow me or go over to my website, I talk about time blocking all the time. I have a workbook. I teach classes on it. And it's so helpful in just laying out. I like to look at my time a week, like look at it at the week and do a big bird's eye view of it, and then take each day individually and kind of lay out things throughout the week, how they're going to go. And it's about prioritizing. And just like you said, you make time for the things that are important to you. So really looking at yourself and looking within, like I'm talking about for this month, we're looking within into the eye of spice. So looking within, what is important to you? What's on your business agenda? What's on your personal agenda? What do you got going on? What do you want to be focusing on for right now? Because our lives are always changing and busy, not busy, whatever it might be. And you want to do things that are healthy and sustainable for you personally and professionally. So time blocking is a really great way, and just being very intentional, being very self-aware are all really great practices to start getting into, so that way you can become more visible in your business and do the things that you really want to do that are going to get you to where you want to be.
Right. And I'm a huge fan of time blocking. And I think that the number one thing, and what this all comes back to today in visibility, is really overcoming the things that are stopping yourself from doing that, whatever that might be. I was talking to a client the other day. He said, "This is my problem." And I said, "I understand what you're telling me." I said, "What are you going to do to change that?" "Well, I don't know." And I said, "Well, I think you do know." And then he thought about it. And then he told me, "Well, I just need to push through and do it anyway." And I said, "Exactly. If you want to be more visible, you just got to get out there and do it anyway. If you're afraid to be on video, you just got to do it anyway." Ingrid Van Roy, who I think we all know, yes. Ingrid hated video. I talked to her along with other people and encouraged her, give it a shot. And now she's all over the place on video, in spite of really being scared of doing those kind of things. So it's just a matter of pushing through, whether it's video, whether it's social media, whatever it is, and just giving of yourself and giving to others, and that draws people to you. So speaking of giving, Joseph, we're going to start with you. I'm going to let each one of you give last words, what you want everybody to remember about our topic of visibility today, and then tell everybody how to get in touch with you. Go ahead.
Basically, visibility for everybody. It's the choice that you make, the path that you want to take, and understand that this is the long game. It's not the short game, and that you have to be consistent on a regular and a daily basis. Time blocking is essential. My time block is from 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 4 a.m. every single morning, 7 days a week, 365. I don't take a day off. I create my own content. I create my own videos. I edit. I do everything by myself. And that's my choice that I make. My message to everybody is remove those limited beliefs. Value yourself. Give yourself your self-worth. And remember that you're a person just like everybody else. You bring a unique, authentic, and a different style than everybody else. Everybody can get a hold of me here on LinkedIn, Joseph Gonzalez, or in the Game Group LLC, also on LinkedIn. I'm LinkedIn 24/7. So reach out to me, bring me in. I'll crush your culture in the organization, and we'll boom it out of the ballpark. Thank you, Russ. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, Joseph. I've got I've had so many people say to me in these shows, how do you type so fast? How do you put out all that information about Joseph while he's talking? Well, it's because I'm not doing it. If you want to really be visible, get an amazing assistant like I have who does it for you while you're talking, because I don't multitask that good. I want to say that. So anyway, next up, we are going to go back to Cammie. Cammie, give everybody your last words, what you want them to remember, and how to get in touch with you.
Oh, thank you. So this is what I want you to remember. Look at me. What you have to say is so important. Somebody is out there waiting for exactly what you were talking about and the way that you talk about it. So everybody else could have the same thing you're doing, but the way that you are doing it, the way that you understand it, your wisdom is needed by somebody in the world. So I would just say, please, do not delay any longer, because there are people waiting for you to start speaking. And I want to, as far as getting in touch with me, you can actually here on LinkedIn always, click on it, and I would love to talk to you there. But also, I'm going to put this in the chat for you real quick. You can get the Cornerstone content generator I told you about just by going to my smartsocialmastery.com. website, and you can grab it there. It's free, and that's that thing that people were able to create their content in 17 minutes. I'll just give it to you for free, and I hope that will help you. And if you need any help with that, just let me know. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. And you are a huge help. I can testify to that. And I appreciate you. Chris, so you don't have to go last. We're going to bring you up next because I don't want to leave you to last. I don't want to hear about it.
Man, so, I'm paying for that comment. I am totally paying for that comment, Russ. Thanks for busting my chops. That means that way I know you really do like me. But
that's right.
Yeah, man. There's some great people here tonight. And if you're watching this on replay or you're watching this live, you've heard like so much greatness, and the people are doing so many things. You don't have to do all the things. Just do one. Just do one thing. If you can identify who you want to talk to, find out where they are, what are their problems, and go solve them, and then go somewhere and deliver that content to them. It could be on Pinterest. It doesn't have to be on live video. It could be anywhere. It could be on Amazon. It could be, but you have to realize you can't do all the things. You just can't. We don't. I'm going to be honest. We don't do all the things. You may see all of our stuff on all of the things, but trust me, we can't do all the things. We're focusing on what we know is driving what we're doing. And so don't do all of them. Do one thing. And if you want to get in contact with me, you can contact me at chrisstone.contact. That's all my stuff. And you can connect with me at on the platform of your choice.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you so much for being here today, Chris. And because I know all of you are so busy, and it just means a lot to me, bringing all your wisdom. And Jim Fuhs, you're next up. Let us know what's going on. Final words and how people get in touch with you.
Well, my final words would be, don't be afraid to get started with video. I don't care if it's recorded video. I don't care if it's live video. Just get started. I started almost 4 years ago when Tim Sohn and I, August of this year will be 4 years of our show. That was the first time I had done video. And it's made a huge difference. As a small business, people connect with you better on video because, text and these other forms of content sometimes fall a little bit short of putting out the right message. But when you're using video, people really get to know you. And so don't be afraid. If you've got questions, I mean, look at what Russ has done. Russ has done over 200 shows now, right? He wasn't doing video before. So it just shows you, if you're willing to put in the effort, great things can happen. Catch me at, on LinkedIn here, best way to connect. But also, if you want to see what Chris and I are doing, follow us at dealcasters.shop, and we'll actually be live tomorrow at 1 o'clock with Monty Weaver.
Well, and that, by the way, Casthead is amazing. The first time I did Amazon Live was with you guys, then I did it with D. Scott a couple times. And it is amazing because, obviously it helped promote my book and things that I was doing, but this is cool the way that whole process works. So I want to encourage everybody, if you have not tuned in to their show on Amazon Live, it's amazing. And it's really a cool platform. Yeah. And speaking of cool platforms, we saved the best for last, right, Alex?
Thank you. So I had a couple things I wanted to say. One of them was I wanted to go back to what Chris had said earlier about how tech is really not the barrier anymore, because for me, I'm probably like the newest to the crew of live streaming and doing live video, and definitely tech is not my strong suit. I am not a techie person. So having tech as a barrier for you is no, that doesn't fly, because it's so easy. Anybody can get started with tech. It really is what everyone else mentioned. It's the mindset. It's getting over. It's just doing it. It's pressing the button. It's just doing it. So I wanted to put that out there, because definitely I'm newer to it, and I just went and did it, and you learn along the way. And there's so many great people, like all the people here, that can help you to learn more about doing this and getting out there and being visible. And then the other thing I wanted to say about visibility is kind of like how my shirt says love. So definitely my love language is gifts of service or acts of service. And my way of becoming so visible on LinkedIn and on all the different platforms really was going to other people's live streams and supporting them and doing it in a genuine way, because I've made so many genuine connections with so many amazing, amazing people. And that's really how going to different live streams, different videos, different interviews, and just supporting and writing in the comments and messaging people and showing my true support for them. And that has allowed me to be on other people's shows. And then when I have a show, they come onto my show. So that's a really great way to gain more visibility. And just like everybody mentioned earlier, is, being genuine, making connections and supporting other people. And just like my gifts, acts of service, that is such a great way to make connections and become more visible. And if you are out there trying to become more visible and you cannot find the time and you're too busy, definitely you need some strategies, you need some processes, you need some help in that area. So reach out to me to learn more about productivity and time management, energy management, how to do all the things. If you're a busy mom or a busy entrepreneur, I definitely can help you out with that. So you can find me on LinkedIn. If you search the hashtag Get Your Spice, you can find all of my posts there, or you can go to my website, getyourspice.net. And like I always say, for a balanced life, you just add spice.
That's so awesome. Yay. Yes. This is, a theme that many of you have brought up, and I want to echo that. And that is just get started. I've from the very beginning, when I talked about connection, I had 5 steps to connection. The first one was just start, because so many people, we plan, we think, we muddle, we worry, we stress, we plan, we change it, we worry some more, we plan, and we never start. And so the number one thing is, I want to encourage everybody, just what so many of these great people said today: get started, build your content, and just get online and figure it out as you go, because you'll get better and better. And I love the phrase, and I say it all the time: good and done is better than perfect and not done. Put out a good product, get going, and then just make it better as you get going. And that's exactly what all of us have done, and it's exactly what you can do too. And so I just want to encourage you, take this valuable input that you've got from this group today to help you with your visibility in your life and your business, because you can do amazing things. All of you watching, and I pray that you would just share this out with people, those that weren't able to watch today. We know there's lots of lurkers, as Jim said, that are not commenting. There's also people that can't watch things live because they have kids to take care of, they got a family to cook dinner for, whatever's going on. Share this out so your friends can see it. Tag your friends in it. Say, hey, this has got some great, what Jim said, what Alex said, what Cami said, it's great information that you need. And so I encourage you to do that today. And we just want to thank you for being here. We really do. I'm going to thank all of you, send you to the green room really quickly and wrap things up. But I just want to tell you all what a blessing you are to me. And I really, really want to thank you for being here today.
You're awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Russ.
Awesome.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you, guys.
Russ,
All right.
thanks so much.
You bet. See you in just a minute here. And then as I slowly get everybody out, it takes a minute for when we're producing the show and hosting the show at the same time. So listen, but it can happen, right? And you know what? Don't be afraid that accidents do happen. You have shows where not a lot of people show up, and some shows where thousands of people show up. It all depends on what you've done to continue to create that visibility. And part of it, just like many of my fabulous guests today said, my good friends are all talking about giving, blessing other people, paying attention and caring about what others are doing is going to draw connection for you and build a community that will give you visibility. Build community, build connection. It will help you so much. I cannot even tell you how that will help you with your visibility. So I just want to thank you all for being here today. We went a little bit longer than I thought. I usually don't go an hour long, but we had so much great content. I just wanted to get that all in there. And I just want to thank you again. Don't forget, Russ Reels Live is not a weekly show. So keep your eyes and minds tuned to social media for the next ad that comes out. We'll have another Russ Reels Live here in a couple weeks, and it'll be Thursday at 4 p.m. again. And then also don't forget Marketing with Russ, aka hashtag Russ Selfie, that I just celebrated 200 episodes on, is every Monday and Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And the Experience Live with Russ and Scott is every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Love to have you tune into any of those shows. Most of all, don't forget, I love to connect with people. The best way to connect with me is to go to russhedge.com right there, russhedge.com, and just reach out and let's chat. Love to do it. So until we see you again, have a great day and a great life. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.